y'all. It's Christine Deane, your favorite DFW Networking Diva, connecting you to who you want to know. And I'm excited today. We're going to talk more entrepreneurial space. You know, we love small business owners. We love talking to those that are here to help small business owners. And I wanted to introduce you to my friend, George Vayalil. I told you I was going to mess it up. All right, your turn to say it.
You're good. It's Vayalil, but
See?
I just go with George.
George, I can pronounce George. I'm good with that. See, I laugh because I'm like, I can barely speak English. I don't know how anybody does multiple languages. And I know you speak multiple languages, and I know you can laugh at me. It's okay. I won't hold it against you.
No, you're fine, Christine. It's all
Yeah,
good.
but I know I can hear from the accent. You're not here in Texas originally, but you've lived here before, haven't you?
Yes, in Dallas, Texas. I stayed there for about 4 years and a total of 5 years in America. So I was in Boston, Massachusetts. That's where I did my master's in international business. And then I moved to Dallas and I was there for about 3.5 to 4 years.
Oh, wow. So in the Dallas area. So where'd you live in the Dallas area?
So I did live in downtown for a bit near Oak Lawn. And then I mean, that's more towards uptown. But then I moved to Plano for a short bit. And then I moved back to India.
All right. So you're really here. All right. In that case, tell us favorite restaurant.
Buzz Brews. It's in the downtown area. Do you know Buzz Brews?
I do. It's been a while, but yes.
Yeah. So I still love the carnita grinder over there. I'm a minority from India. We eat beef and things like that. So uh, yeah, I still love the carnita grinder there.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time while you're here. So now you're currently just back in India at the moment.
Yes, I've been here ever since the pandemic started. So it's kind of a funny story, also sad at the same time a little bit. I got stuck when I was visiting India, and I just couldn't go back because the pandemic hit. And then I ended up starting the business over here, and then one thing led to another, and now we are like 12 employees, and we're going strong.
That's awesome, though. You're expanding. And I know the pandemic changed a lot of people's businesses, right? And people got stuck. I have a friend that their landlord went to visit China and then boom, got stuck there for years.
Wow.
It's like, so yeah, those that did any kind of international travel, things were a little bit crazy during that time. So, but it sounds like you came out of it strong. You mentioned a master's degree in international business. That's
Yes.
impressive. What made you decide to go into that?
So I was 21 when I first moved to the US, and I knew I was too young to do an MBA. I mean, a lot of people would beg to differ on that opinion. However, I just felt, getting a master's would be more like a foot in the door, for most businesses or most companies that I would have liked to get into ideally. So I decided to do a master's instead of a full-fledged MBA. And that was done in about a year and a half, and then I moved to Texas.
Well, so are you having fun in your international business? That sounds intimidating. I love that. That's got to be fun. What was your favorite part about getting your master's degree?
The favorite part would have been, I would say, the kind of people I was able to meet. I had classmates from all over the world, and I went to a small university known as Hult International Business School. So Hult has campuses throughout the world. They have one in Shanghai, in Dubai, in Boston, in San Francisco, in London, and I think, if I'm not wrong, they're opening one in Brazil right now. So I mean, it's really the international crowd there and the kind of global exposure we were allowed to have, and they took certain particular steps to make sure that we assimilated and integrated with people from different parts of the world. Because whenever we were put into smaller groups, they'd make sure that no one person from the same country was in a single group. So that way we were able to interact with other people. So I was lucky enough to learn phrases and words in different languages. So that was very interesting to me, and it was the first time I had global exposure at that scale. So it was very interesting.
That sounds like a lot of fun, right? And it would make sense if you're doing a degree that relates to international business that you would want to be able to interact with other people from other countries. So it makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
What a great experience that might have been. So I'm thinking you took that with you and then started your business. Tell us more about your business.
So I didn't quite get into business right away. So once I graduated, I got placed as a business analyst at a software development company in Dallas, Texas. So to be specific, it was in Irving. So I'm sure you know Irving, Texas. Yeah. So I worked there for about 6 months, and then I decided to quit, and I started doing a sales job because by the time I quit, I decided I was probably going to come back to India, and it was going to put an end to my 2 year stint in America, and I was just going to come right back. However, I decided to take up another job, and it turned out to be a sales job, selling something known as HelloFresh. Have you heard of HelloFresh by any chance?
No, I'm not familiar with that one.
Okay, so it's like a meal kit delivery service in which you get all these ingredients.
Oh, Hello
Yeah,
Fresh.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, no.
I'm sure you've seen some of those commercials, yeah. So before they went full fledged with their marketing, there was direct selling, a lot of direct selling involved. So I would literally stand out in the streets of downtown Dallas, and I would actually, sell to people just walking on the road. And when I say sell, I'd stop people, just walking, and I'd say, "Hey, have you heard of HelloFresh?" And I would literally make them sign up and place an order, and that's also how I would get a commission. So for every box of HelloFresh I sold, I would get about $60. So that job, I mean, even though it wasn't the most fun to do, I would say it probably taught me a lot. Taught me a lot about sales, to be able to sell directly, a lot about marketing. So it really, taught me how to put myself out there.
Right, and it
And
really immersed you in the American culture, having to talk to people every day,
absolutely,
and great experience, I would think, right? And I gotta
absolutely,
say, that takes a lot of guts. It
oh,
really does.
it
It
does.
takes for you to be willing to go to another country, speak a language
Yep.
that wasn't your first language, and go out there and talk to people every day and sell. I gotta say, I gotta admire that kind of dedication
Oh
and
yeah. Oh
your
yeah.
willingness to just gonna do it, right? And
Correct.
that says a lot about your personality, right? About your character and your willingness to do what needs to be done, right?
Probably. So the thing is a little bit of a correction. So English has always been my first language,
Oh,
and
really? Okay.
yeah, and it actually is the strongest language I know. I do speak maybe about two or three other languages. One of them not so fluently, but it's enough for me to get around in India. I speak the
Mhm.
local language of where I stay here in India. It's a small city called Bangalore, and we speak a language called Kannada over here. So I speak Kannada more or less fluently. Besides that, I also speak Hindi to a certain degree, and I also speak my mother tongue, which is a language called Malayalam. And there's a huge Malayali community there in Dallas, Texas. And I had a good amount of time being able to interact with them because soon after HelloFresh, I moved into the energy business. So I'm sure you know how the retail energy business works. So we were just energy brokers, and anybody who wants to get to know about the story in length and more in detail would have to get in touch with me personally, because I had a lot of twists and turns.
Well, so then you did some work with energy, and then what happened?
And then my energy company needed a website. Okay. So I was just sitting online and just looking for resources as to how to build a website. And then this old friend of mine, after I posted, put up a post on Facebook, a friend of mine reached out to me and said, "Hey, try out this one particular software called Mobirise. It's probably going to, it might take you a little bit of time to learn it. However, once you get a hang of it, you'll be churning out websites like in no time." And so it was one of those no code, just drag and drop builders. So I built a website, and then, somebody else reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, your company has a really good website. Who built it?" So I just hesitated in telling them that I did it myself. And I said, "Oh, I know this guy. He's kind of talented. He builds, good websites." and he charges just about 300 to 400 bucks, So they were like, okay, I guess we'd be needing one then. I was like, sure, let's go. So I built them a full website, and it wasn't until maybe a few months later I actually told them that it was me who built the website. After they had told me something like, it's really great we got to get this website done at just $400, because a lot of websites, the going rates these days are anywhere between 800 to 1000 $2000. So I was like, that's when I confessed to them, and they were pretty they were pretty shocked to a certain extent, because they didn't take me for like a tech guy or anything of that sort. But it all worked out, and that was my first client. And then I've just been building websites, and now we've evolved into software development as well. And again, I don't know how to write a single line of code, and however, I do have some talented boys working with me, and they do a phenomenal job with our clients. So
See,
I'm
that's
just
that
happy.
go get 'em attitude I was talking about. See, you're like, I need a website. I'm going to build it. Right. I mean, there's a certain kind of attitude that comes along with that, and the ability to just jump in and do what needs to be done. I love that about you, George.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't blame people who don't have that kind of attitude, because it can be a learning curve and can be quite challenging. Because with the headache of running a business already, I mean, you know probably better than a lot of people on how hard it is to run a business. So I definitely don't need to educate you on that, Christine. But it's worth pointing out that it's not at all easy, and it can get quite challenging at times.
Oh, absolutely. And you said you've grown. You've got 12 people working with you now. Are they all local? Are they across the globe? Or
So I have my head of design, my chief of design. He stays in LA. So he's a buddy of mine from college back in Boston, and he also, was my roommate coincidentally, and one of my closest friends. So he does an amazing job being the head of design. But I do have other tier two designers as well who work with me. And depending on what the budget is for a client, and depending on what the client is really looking for, we allocate certain tasks to certain people. So my designer in LA, he does overlook a lot of things. I mean, oversee a lot of things here in India on what we work on and how we go about doing things. But at the same time, I have my tier two, tier three designers who actually sit and do a lot of the groundwork over here. So that it's been working out well for us, and we have all the other boys are local over here, and we have a really good time working with each other.
so you started with that one website. Is that still what you're doing? What areas are you guys focusing on now? I imagine that you probably are doing more than just that one website.
Correct. So we do have we've launched 10 new lead generation products recently, and so that is available on a domain called census.xyz, not census.net, like the scroll would indicate. So that is just an attempt at being able to get into the SaaS space, software as a service. And we're just starting things off on that front. And at the same time, we are getting very largely into software development and custom software solutions, which
Oh,
means
so
now,
let's
say you
start before let's go back a little bit. So first you said you started doing some more lead gen, right? What kind of things are you doing with lead gen? Because I know small business owners are always interested in getting more leads. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Correct. So you just have to look into our software and see the different functionalities, because we have 10 different, platforms
Wow.
that we have. Yeah. So because of that, it just covers a lot of different aspects of it. Now, say one of our products, for example, every time a new domain is registered, if you have signed up on our lead generation software, every time a new domain is registered, you are able to get to know that domain and get the contact details of that person who has registered that domain. Now, so that is something really cool.
Mhm. Cool. Hopefully you'll be back in just a second. Yeah, that's a great topic with lead gen, right? Lead gen is one of those areas that a lot of business owners are struggling with. You've got the systems, you've got the talent, but where's the people? And I know that's an ongoing thing that a lot of business owners struggle with. So I think that's a great topic that all business owners are interested in. So we love the lead gen stuff. So you said you have 10 different styles of opportunities for lead gen. That's crazy. I love that.
Yep.
So
So
one of them is being able to find out when people buy domains. So that's a good one.
yep, that's one of the good ones. And we have a chatbot solution to capture, and convert visitors. Then we have an online review management system, which means every time you enter a website, or any customer or any client visits your website, we encourage them to leave a Google My Business review. So it's just we are able to extract B2B emails as well. Now, how cool is that? So it works similarly on the lines of Lucia. Have you heard of Lucia?
I don't think I know that one. Tell us more.
So Lucia is like a B2B emails generator, which means you just have to enter your first name, the last name, and the name of the company, and it is able to scrape the internet for that person's email. Now, it really helps with people who work in sales, and people who need to get in touch with certain decision makers in a certain company. So it's absolutely something anybody and everybody should check out if they are in the field of lead generation.
Yeah, I love that. So you said it's not census .net, it's dot
It's
what?
it's dot xyz.
X Y
YZ.
Z. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. So we haven't really gone to market with the website just as yet. However, we would still like it if people checked it out, and because the website is more or less ready, and we'd love we are accepting registrations as well, and people can make payments, and we also have a free trial that's going on, so people can check out our software for about a full 7 days, and they can generate more than 200 leads just in that 7 days. And so we've facilitated quite a lot of things.
I love that. Yeah, it's really when you get a chance to kind of try out something new, it gets exciting, right? When you get something that actually works for your business. And sometimes you just gotta give it a try. You
Absolutely.
don't know what's gonna happen. Don't be afraid of it, right?
Absolutely.
So we went ahead and just posted that in the chat. So anybody wants to click on that link and check it out, and they can go check out your website. Try something new, right? Love it.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. So you're doing the lead gen, which is always wonderful. And what were the next ones that you were talking about? You mentioned some other ones too.
You would honestly just have to go to our website and check it out, because if I have to go more in detail, we'd just be spending this entire podcast just talking about our 10 products. And like I said, this podcast, my intention is for people to get to know me, because there are more than
Absolutely.
8,000 registered companies just like us, and a lot of people, some of them are aware of this and some of them aren't. Especially if you have people hitting you up all the time saying, hey, do you need to improve your website, do you need social marketing services, social media, like all of those things. You have people reaching out to you all the time. My important thing is, if I'm able to sell me as a person, and the way people would be able to perceive me, I think that would go a long way, a lot further than any products I come out with.
Yeah, I know you've got fun products, you've got great services. I love that. That's fun. And you've been out here to the United States, which is great. And now you're back home. So what do you do when you're not working?
So when I'm not working, I love to go on long drives or play soccer. I mean, we call it football over here, but yeah, I like to do either of the two things.
Great fun. I love that. See, is there anything else that you wanted to tell our audience before we say goodbye?
What I would say is, more than signing up for any company to do any kind of a service, say, you're trying to grow your business, you're trying to get some design work, or you're trying to get a website done. What I would really say is, get to know about the company's culture, get to know about how effective they are in what they do. Because, like I just said, in South India alone, there are more than 8,000 registered companies just like mine. and in America, the numbers a lot higher. So anybody and everybody is able to, create a website these days just using no code software. However, um, would you get the kind of finish, or would you get the kind of professionalism that good professional website would provide you? Probably not. So it's always good to take help, but at the same time, be wary of who you're taking that help from, because there could be institutions that are just out there to make money. But I believe strongly in building long-term relationships, and you would always recommend me to another person if you ever wanted something built, or if somebody else asks you, like, hey, you have a cool website, who built it for you? And I'm pretty certain you'd say my name. So that's how I try to build my network, and mainly on word of mouth.
I love that, because George, like you said, relationships are so important, and
Absolutely.
this is somebody you're going to do ongoing business with. And I think a lot of marketers have businesses have worked with marketers that weren't a good fit, and then they're not happy with the results, or they have a problem, they can't get somebody to help them. And there's marketers out there that aren't always the best, and so it gives a bad name and bad reputation for all marketers. So you really want to know who you're working with and get to know them. Can you admire them? Are they ethical, right? Do you like their character, right? And so if you actually like the person, do you like them as a human, right? And do you want to do business with them? So you're absolutely 100% right. That's my philosophy too. You want to know people. So build those relationships. So if you're looking for somebody that wants to build relationships and wants to partner with your business, right, to help provide those services, then you want to reach out to George. Say hi to George, get to know him a little bit. We're going to scroll his contact information across the screen again. So reach on out to him. And that one is actually, I forgot to say, forgive me. Now, we actually met through My B2B Network. So I just wanted to say thank you to My B2B Network for sponsoring this episode and introducing us. Now, you joined My B2B Network. Why did you join?
So I joined to meet a lot more like-minded people, firstly, and secondly, to be able to associate myself with clients who would genuinely need my help, rather than people who just want to do things as a small hobby. My B2B network, I've noticed, connects me with a lot more people who are professional, and the kind of leads I get from them are a lot more high-ticket clients, and they go out of their way to make their clients feel valued. So I respect that, and I like that.
Yeah, me too. She's a sweetheart. So if you haven't checked it out, go to myb2bnetwork.com. It's scrolling right now. She put us together, and thank you so much for being a part of this. And thank you so much, George, for coming in, sharing a little bit about you, what you're up to and what you're doing. And if you want to reach out and talk to George, once again, we're going to put his information up. So that's contact@sensesys.net. You want to spell that for us?
It's Sensesys. It's as easy as the name suggests. That's short for sensible systems. I'm not the most creative guy when it comes to names. I usually let my content guys handle that stuff. However, I had to come up with a name in about less than 10 minutes, because I was going through a lengthy registration process, and I came up. I was like, I need something that makes sense, and then
And that's what it is, right? Sense
yeah.
Systems. So so sensesys.net if you want to reach out. So contact that, and have a great time. Get to know George. And thank you so much for coming to play with us today, George.
Thank you, Christine. Pleasure.
That's another episode of DFW Networking Diva, Christine Deane. And we're happy to connect you with the entrepreneurs that you want to know. So if you're in small business, if you're interested in entrepreneurship, this is the playground you want to play in. So reach out anytime. We're here to help. We'll talk again soon.